Ooh, child, we got to talk about what went down this week because, baby, if you blinked, you might have missed it. But the spiritual realm did not. Okay. And neither did B. Yes, you heard that right. Her music snatched. And no, we're not talking about a leak. We're talking about outright theft. Songs from Act 3 allegedly surfacing in corners of the internet that they had no business being in. And here's the kicker, the person behind it ain't just some hacker in a hoodie. This feels internal. It feels close. And Spirit told me that this was not an outsider just hacking their way in. This was somebody with access, somebody who knew exactly what they were doing. The energy screamed betrayal, right? It screamed hidden enemies, sneakiness, deception, cloaked in false alliance. Somebody in the camp, somebody trusted, made a deal or passed along files that they shouldn't have. And it wasn't just casual. It was intentional. There was motive. There was bitterness. There was a karmic debt being played out. But the person behind this, it feels like somebody who used to be close, somebody who used to be favored, but got edged out. Could be a producer, might even be somebody from the legal or tech side. But Spirit definitely made one thing very clear. This wasn't just theft. It was a message. It was a warning shot. And Beyonce heard it loud and clear. But here's the spiritual guide. This same type of energy also came up in Jay-Z's orbit. Now, remember when we talked about still court cases, financial misdealings? There's a thread here. There's overlap. Spirit is showing us that the two things may be connected, okay? That the same shadowy dealings around Jay-Z's empire, his shady contracts, his ownership questions, the spiritual violations, all are circling back right now in a new form. And so the leak is part of that karmic fallout. So the energy of this week and the downloads that I received, it gave exposure. It gave shifting alliances, contracts dissolving, digital footprints traced, a feminine force recovering power. And so the visuals that I received were very clear. Beyonce finds out who did it, not in 5D, but in real life, right? Because Spirit says that she's already narrowing it down and she will respond. Maybe not in court, maybe not in interviews, but in the art, in the rollout, in the visual. And this is why the Act 3 single date didn't move. This is exactly why the song will come out July 29th, 2025. Because this stuff doesn't stop anything. If anything, it accelerated the release. The album is spiritual warfare, and now the target is locked. Now, Spirit also showed me that this stuff serves as a divine purpose. It exposed the snake. It made someone reveal themselves, and it sharpened Beyonce's message, made her bolder, more cutting, less concerned with industry rules, and more focused on the impact. There was even a flash that I got, right? An image of her in a studio, alone, in full control. Spirit says that she's pulling tighter, fewer collaborators, more direct involvement. And the visuals, definitely going to be more encrypted, even more spell-like. Because now Beyonce knows she's not just dealing with haters, she's also dealing with ops. So this is why she brought Jay-Z on stage recently. Not for love, but for coverage, for misdirection. Because behind the scenes, she was closing ranks, getting her legal and spiritual protections in order, finalizing what happens when Act 3 finally drops and exposes everything. Spirit also gave me a glimpse of what's to come. There could be a second leak attempt that happens, but it fails. Maybe a major industry figure tied to the theft exposed publicly. Beyonce using visual metaphors to call out the betrayal directly. Fans maybe catching on to the different codes. But here's the biggest plot twist, right? Spirit says that the stolen song won't even make the final album because Beyonce, being Beyonce, will scrap it just to spite them. She doesn't need to chase what's been taken. She creates something better. And so the replacement is stronger. It's rawer. It's more aligned with the tower energy of this album. Like the theft activated a new level of power. So what does this all mean? This album isn't just about rebellion. It's about resilience. This act isn't just about sound. It's about soul contracts breaking. And Beyonce, she's not asking for justice. She's channeling it. So let this be known. This step didn't stop the show. It made the show unavoidable. But let's spin the block real quick. Remember January 14, 2025? Yeah, that wasn't just a random Tuesday. Baby, it had energy, okay? The Hive had their magnifying glasses out because Beyonce was doing her usual cryptic breadcrumbing, random audio uploads to Spotify, metadata changes on Apple Music, Basically, like her whole entire digital footprint was yelling, watch this space. And everybody could feel it, right? This wasn't Ivy Park. This wasn't a promo deal. This was Renaissance business. And then, boom, silence. Right as folks were clutching their wigs in anticipation, California wildfires break out. The announcement, scrapped. Teasers, deleted. We were left with nothing but rumors and disappointment. But let's not be naive. That wasn't just a logistical delay. Spirit made it very, very clear. This was divine interception. The energy just wasn't aligned. The world wasn't ready. The portal that was supposed to open up on January 14th was meant to start something massive. And the vibes, way off. So what do we get instead? A patched together Cowboy Carter tour announcement that screamed, this was not the original plan. The rollout felt like a student who forgot their presentation was due and just winged it. No international dates, bare bones, staging, minimal fanfare. It was definitely giving Chitlin Circuit realness, right? But hear me out. That was intentional. The Cowboy Carter tour was the hidden alternative plan B. Because Beyonce is a Virgo sun, she doesn't do chaos. She does codes. She does meaning. So Spirit confirmed this tour was never about the glitz and the glam. Like, it was about grit. It was about retracing the past before launching the revolution. A spiritual detour before the rebirth. And so while all of that was happening, Jay-Z was out here imploding. Allegations have been bubbling since late 2024, but they had started getting real loud. Think sealed documents, whispered paternity scandals, accusations of theft, and the one that made the internet collectively clutch its pearls. That Jay-Z had stolen masters. Now let's talk about receipts from the other realm. Beyonce got hit with something major in a 3D. Not no intuitive ping, but I'm talking about hard proof. Texts, documents, a betrayal from somebody close. She found out something that changed everything. That's when her entire frequency flipped. That's when she stopped trying to fix it and started planning her exit. And you can see it. I mean, half the time her ring is on, half the time it's off. Her tour outfit started doing the most in the most coded way. Her body language basically said, listen, I'm here professionally, not romantically. And she was sending messages without saying a word. Each performance was a ritual of rebuke, a quiet read. This breakup isn't energetic. It's physical. She told him it's done. But Jay-Z's ego is fighting for dear life. That's why he's showing up at her shows like a desperate PR intern. He's trying to rewrite the narrative. Meanwhile, she's letting him play the part until the curtains close because she knows the story she's about to tell will be in her language, not his. So Spirit was also very loud with this part. Beyonce's guides have been pushing her. They've been whispering, yelling, and now pushing her into legacy level decisions. Every rollout, every delay, every shift has been divinely timed, even down to this trilogy. It's not just about genres. It's about releasing grief, about reclaiming power and ascending to God-tier influence. And her marriage, that was the last tether to a path that she's already burnt down. And Jay-Z knows that it's over. But knowing and accepting, that's the soul lesson. And from the energy and the downloads that I received, Spirit is loud and clear. Beyonce is done. This trilogy was never just an album rollout. Baby, this was a spiritual ceremony, a coded ritual, a soul purge draped in couture and sprinkled with Virgo precision. Beyonce didn't just drop music. She orchestrated a metaphysical event, each act being a spell, a chapter, a rite of passage. So let's break it the hell down, because the girls got it twisted. Act 1, Renaissance, the future. This was light. This was levity. This was also queer black joy wrapped in chrome and dipped in disco. Renaissance released on July 29th, 2022. Though it wasn't the first album created, but it had to come first. Why? Because joy is a frequency, and Spirit told her the collective was too deep in grief to absorb anything else. This was Beyonce giving us permission to breathe, to dance, to remember what freedom felt like and feels like. And then we can't forget, this was post-2020, post-George Floyd, post-COVID breakdown, post-trauma fatigue. Beyonce knew that people were dying inside. So basically she said, listen, before I drag you through your generational curses, let me remind you who the fuck you are. Renaissance was our star card, our cosmic realignment, the future that we should be vibrating at. It was never supposed to be first, but it had to be. Then we moved on to Act Two, Cowboy Carter, the past. This was the shadow, the reckoning, the pain, and the propaganda. Released March 29th, 2024. Cowboy Carter was heavy for a reason. It wasn't an aesthetic choice, it was an ancestral one. This was Beyonce reaching into the blood-stained soil of American music and ripping out every stolen, rebranded, whitewashed piece of Black artistry. She showed us the propaganda in real time. Country music tried to erase her, so she erased the erasure. But this act wasn't just for Nashville. It was every Black kid who was told they weren't country enough or American enough, palatable enough. This was trauma alchemy, a reclamation. And spiritually, this was the death card, the funeral before the rebirth. Now, originally, this was supposed to be Act One, but of course, 2020 hit, and Beyonce realized, again, y'all can't handle the truth if you're still drowning in unprocessed grief. So she gave us a party before the purge, which brings us to Act Three, rock and roll, the present. This is the rebellion, the return, the fucking revolution. And this act is coming fast. And it's coming for your delusion. Spirit is saying the time is up and the time is now. No more passive healing. No more love and light without accountability. This is Judgment Day. This is the tower. This is the divine wake-up call. We're talking about sonic chaos, industrial noise, punk gospel, scream prayers, electric wailing. Not just sonically, but spiritually. This act is meant to shake the fucking table. Flip it. Build a new altar from the ashes. And Beyonce's done fucking playing nice. She's done. When I tell you lyrically, this is going to be one of her best albums yet, her most critically acclaimed. It's going to be so half and half, mixed reviews. People are going to cry. People are going to just be at awe after everything that she's been through the last couple of years. Just it's chaotic, but on purpose. The energy with this act is warlike, it's disruptive, it's raw. Think trench coats, combat boots, blood moons. It's not just an album, it's an invocation, right? And so there's a rush here, there's a pressure. And it's because the collective portal has opened and Beyonce has no choice but to step through. So let's talk visuals. Since 2022, fans have been foaming at the mouth for the visuals. And Spirit has confirmed with me that yes, they are real, but they're not what you think. This ain't no track by track video collection. This is one big cinematic experience, one visual body of work, possibly titled Echoville. And get this, Jordan Peele's name, Spirit didn't deny me of it. Okay, because the vibe matches. This doesn't feel like a music video. It feels like a film. It feels like an allegory, a generational mirror. And the entire trilogy to be told in one visual timeline, spiritually encoded, dropped after Act 3 closes to tie the spell work together. It's not what the mainstream expected, but it's exactly what the collective needs. And that's on prophecy. Because Act 1 was our invitation. Act 2 was our interrogation. And Act 3, that's going to be our initiation. So let's go ahead and rip the veil off, shall we? This ain't just tea. It's ancestral brew, hot and blessed by every high priestess on your grandma's altar. When it comes to Jay-Z's chart, screaming. Like full-on horror movie scream. Like, this man was born with a Virgo rising, meaning Mercury is his chart ruler. But then we have Mercury retrograde in Leo that is happening starting July 18, 2025, sliding into his 12th house. Yeah, that's not just screaming. That is literally your secrets getting subpoenaed by spirit. Mercury in Leo already loves attention, but when Mercury retrogrades in the 12th, it turns into a karmic press conference. Like literally all of your skeletons, like that Jay thought that he had buried. Oh, baby, they're literally doing the Thriller dance out of the closet. But hold up, because this isn't just your average messy Mercury retrograde, right? This one begins July 18th, 2025. Astrologically, it's the first domino that Leo retrograde directly targets Jay's 12th house, which is the house of secrets, spiritual judgment, mental health, and divine reckoning. So when I say divine reckoning, I mean that man is getting dragged to court in both the 3D and the spiritual realm. It's given judgment day, baby. And no, he didn't study. Okay? And if you thought that was it, there's definitely more because this retrograde is squaring Uranus and Taurus. That is financial upheaval. That's your bank account glitching while Forbes still has your name listed as a billionaire. That's legacy shattering. That's contracts falling apart. That's quiet NDAs turning into loud documentaries. All of that empire energy he was clinging to, time is up. Time is up. Closure, tower energy, betrayal, a woman pulling away emotionally, spiritually, then physically. And yes, Beyonce has already ended it in the 3 day. Yes, this is not some ethereal 5D detachment. This is real. Beyonce has told Jay-Z, it's done, I'm done. But Jay's ego is still in 2013, thinking that he can rap his way through this. That's why he's still showing up. That's why we're still seeing him hop up on stages like he's a backup dancer in her legacy tour. Like, that is a man grasping at symbolism, right? Beyonce isn't bringing him out because she loves him. She's doing it to soften the fall. Because when the truth lands, it's going to hit like a meteor. And that truth, let's get into it. Jay-Z is already allegedly tied up in legal mess that makes the title drama look like kindergarten fodder. Whispers of stolen masters, shady deals, paternity cases buried beneath sealed court files, business partners turning into enemies. And here's the most damning part, right? That he may have moved money or music in a way that betrayed Beyonce directly. This isn't just speculation. The energy that's here screams theft, it screams betrayal, it screams manipulation, and it screams karmic debt. And it's not pretty. This is empire level deceit. And Spirit is basically saying, listen, Beyonce found out. Not guessed, not suspected, but found out. That changes a woman. That shifts her entire vibration permanently. And so when we see her on stage glowing in gold, giving you legacy vocals and coded looks, that's her goodbye. Each tour stop on Cowboy Carter is an altar. It's a closing ceremony. And each outfit, a chapter torch. Like, this was never meant to be a real tour. This is a funeral dressed as a victory lap. Limited cities for a reason. No global rollout for a reason. No heavy press for a reason. Because the real energy is happening behind the scenes. Spirit has made it very clear for Beyonce. She had to pivot. January 14, 2025 was the original launch of Act III. That is when the visuals, the album, the truth, that is when it was all supposed to come crashing through. But that's when the wildfires hit. That's when America and the world was like in such a low vibrational place. And that's also when California, where Beyonce's home base is, caught fire. And with it, the whole energy grid shifted. Spirit paused the launch. The portal wasn't clean. The timeline had to be rewritten. And so while the public thought that she went silent for logistical reasons, Spirit knows the truth. That fire, of course, it was metaphysical as well. It was the burning down of her old reality. That's when she was hit with the final betrayal. That's when she made the decision to never look back. Which brings us to now, mid-2025. And that lead single for Act III, oh baby, I already told y'all it's coming sooner than you think. Mark your calendars, July 29th, 2025. That is the drop date. That date has been circling us since January. Again, remember, the original date was supposed to be January 14th, 2025. Even if you go back and look at the images, look at that horse, look at the font, everything was different because it was representing Act III. Which is why when you looked at the horse, you saw it transitioning into black. Even if you look at how Beyonce promoted the tour, the Chitlin Circuit. When you Google Chitlin Circuit, there's an image that pops up, the Chitlin Circuit on the road to rock and roll. Because that's exactly what it is. Act 2 and Act 3 were always meant to be meshed together, right? And so when you think of the date, January 14th, 2025, that was a Tuesday. I'm not going to go too deep into it within this video because I already did in my last video, but we all know that Tuesday used to be the day music originally dropped until it became Thursday at midnight or otherwise Friday. So while everybody's expecting Beyonce to drop the day before her last closing show in Vegas, she's going to actually drop on July 29th, which happens to be a Tuesday, the original day for music, closing up this whole 3-act cycle, because July 29th, 2022, that was when Renaissance dropped. So it'll also be the anniversary, making it that much more impactful. So that date has been circling us since January. Originally planned for the start of the year, it had to be shelved. But now the vibe is right. The cosmos are aligned, and Beyonce, she's ready to throw the first sonic punch. But please be warned, this is not a single in the traditional sense. This isn't a TikTok hook. This is a war cry. This is her as an empress saying, listen, I'm back and I'm done playing nice. The sound, rock. Think rage. Think liberation and 808s and thunder. You're not going to dance to this. You're going to process trauma through it. And the vocals, oh baby, listen. They're going to slice. This is not a love song. It's a requiem. And here's the kicker. Because I see a lot of people trying to act like they ain't getting any information from me. Here's the kicker that nobody's going to tell you. The song is going to drop with a visual. It's not going to be a music video. It's going to be a ritual. And the reason why I say it's not a music video is because it's not your typical contemporary, no. It's a ritual, a spiritual short film. Maybe even the first chapter or the first look into Echoville. Spirit said that the visual will literally tell you everything that her mouth has and everything that she wants to say, but her Virgo perfected ass can't tell you. So think black veil, smoke, fire. Think Jay-Z as a metaphor, not a man. Think Beyonce emerging from the ashes like she lit the match herself. Definitely going to be spiritual. Definitely going to trigger people. Definitely going to have everyone divided. Like, what the fuck is this? This is not the Beyonce I want or expect. Fans will be decoding her message, putting two and two together. Others will be crying, feeling her grief from the last 5, 6, 7, however many years. And then 1 month later, August 29th, 2025, that's the album. The Act 3 finale. The last chapter of the trilogy. The most aggressive, direct, and spiritually potent project that she's ever released. And it's not about love. It's not about fame. It's about freedom. Beyonce's not coming for chart placements. She's coming for legacy, for sovereignty, for her name. And all of this, it definitely times perfectly with the unraveling of Jay-Z. Because during that same Mercury retrograde in Leo in his 12th house, he will be watching her reclaim herself while his kingdom quietly collapses. And the press might not catch it right away, but the energy, the fans, the collective, we will. Jay-Z will still be in the frame, but he won't be in the story because Beyonce has already left. She's already mid-ascension. And so this album is her proof. So remember this moment. July 18th, the unraveling begins. July 29th, the sonic nuke drops. August 29th, the truth is archived in melody. Jay-Z's fall won't be loud. It'll be silent. It'll be spiritual. It'll be a soft release, soft erase. But Beyonce is going to rise louder than ever. Crown intact, ring off, because when spirit speaks, Beyonce listens. Echoville. Even the name sounds like a whisper, a code, a memory echoing through time and sound. Even when you break the words down, echo is like messages through an echo chamber and village and people and ancestors, right? So Spirit is saying this is real. It's not a rumor. It's not a fan theory, not wishful thinking from bored TikTok stands and conspiracy theorists, but I'm here to tell y'all it's real. And it's powerful. And before we jump into what it all is, let's clock where we are. Act 3 is about to blow the roof off the illusion. The lead single drops July 29th, 2025, and it's not coming to play. And then the album hitting on August 29th, and the timing, again, unmatched. Jay-Z's unraveling is syncing with Mercury retrograde in Leo, sliding through his 12th house like a spiritual subpoena. And Beyonce's freedom is syncing with collective tower energy. And so the rollout is syncing with divine intervention, which brings us back to Echoville. This isn't a visual album. That phrase is dead, played out. Beyonce isn't doing what she's done before. She's doing what she's never done. Echoville is a film, a cinematic spell, a spiritual weapon. Think Beyonce meets Jordan Peele meets Octavia Butler meets Ancestral Rage, right? This is not an era. It's a revolution. And Echoville is the final piece of the spell. And it won't drop with the album. Of course not. No. Spirit made that very clear. This is going to need time to marinate. So Act 3 has to settle into the collective first. It has to rattle some cages, shake up some troops. Again, Act 3 is going to be very different than what people expect. It's rock, but it's so out there, calling out the system, calling out the patriarchy, calling out a lot of things. Like, it's going to start some divorces. It's going to end some contracts. It's going to shake up some truths. And it's going to ignite some damn awakenings. Echoville will be the closing portal, the resurrection. After the tower falls and the dust settles, Echoville will bring us the vision of the new world. And what's in it? Everything. Renaissance, Cowboy Carter, Act 3, Black Betty. All braided together with visual metaphors, ancestral codes, spiritual rituals, and audio disruption. The original visuals from Renaissance that never dropped. Don't worry. They're in there. The untold stories of Act 2, don't worry. They're in there. But Act 3 is the glue. This won't be Netflix friendly. It won't be digestible. It'll be challenging, purposefully disorienting, designed to activate, not entertain. And Spirit says it's already complete or close to it. It's just waiting on divine timing. And as far as Jordan Peele's involvement, highly likely. At the very least, somebody with similar spiritual alignment and cinematic vision is definitely holding the lens. And as far as the title, I mean, Echoville, because it's not about one woman, it's about echoes, reverb, frequencies from generations past bouncing off the walls of now. So what's next for Beyonce? Freedom, legacy, alchemy. After Act 3, Beyonce will shift into her final form, not as a performer, but as a prophet. She'll step back from music as a career and start treating it as a ceremony. We're going to start seeing fewer appearances, more intention. Her interviews will be slow, but her presence will feel more ghostly. Not absent, just sacred. She'll probably step more into directing, into producing, into curating space for other Black women to ascend. Spirit is definitely hinting that there is something major coming around late 2026, possibly a retreat, an academy, a spiritual sanctuary disguised as an art center. Think like Beachella meets ancestral healing. There may even be another pregnancy rumor around early 2027, or at least like a maternal shift, whether that's another child or just a symbolic rebirth. I don't know why it would be another child, but I do have to just tell you what the energy is that I feel. Now, as far as for Jay-Z, Spirit has not been kind to this man. The next 2 years for Jay-Z is trials. Legal fallout is likely to start bubbling around September to December. Definitely around eclipse time. I already told you things are going to shake up for Diddy as well. I already told you what to expect as far as Diddy. But as far as Jay-Z, September to December, okay? His Saturn return in his 8th house, been and gone. Now it's judgment, shadow exposure, financial restructuring, and not by choice. Now, I already told you guys, he may try to reclaim his narrative by putting out a project. Spirit says music, maybe like a docuseries, maybe something media-based, but it won't hit. It won't hit. The timing is wrong. The energy is stale. It's going to feel like ego theater. People are going to clock it. I told you this before. And so Jay-Z might try to retreat. He might go silent. He might even possibly travel or hide out somewhere under the guise of a sabbatical, right? But the unraveling is still going to play out. By mid-2026, Spirit says Jay-Z's name won't even hold the same weight. Not publicly, not spiritually. So let's talk about what the future looks like for them as a couple. Because Spirit is very loud with this one. It's over. Not just the marriage, but the karmic contract, the spiritual assignment, the soul mission, complete. Wrap the fuck up. Are they going to announce it? Probably not. Probably not. The ending is more so meant to be felt, not necessarily fed to the press. Again, y'all, this is Beyonce. Okay? And Jay is a Virgo rising. They protect their image. Okay? But listen to me. Beyonce's rollout is the announcement. I'm the only person who's been this detailed as far as their life and what to expect. So please don't look at me and hear one detail that comes true and think that the rest of the shit is not going to. So even if it's not announced and on the shade room, in the blogs, and I discernment people, the shift will be in the visuals. The shift will be in the lyrics. The missing ring, the missing warmth is literally already happening. Somebody just commented and talked about how they saw Jay on stage with B and it just did not look right. A formal separation may be quietly finalized sometime between, I'm going to say in the midst of his legal trauma between September and December. So there could very well be like a formal separation that happens between October and November of this year, 2025. But again, even that will be done in silence. No joint statement, no red table talk, just distance. And that distance is divine. So what now? We step back and we watch the spell unfold because Spirit has been very clear, very clear. Okay, we're watching the unraveling of old contracts of spiritual, musical, financial. We're watching a Black woman reclaim her crown from under the weight of patriarchy, industry theft, and generational silence. And so the message for the collective is simple. Don't just watch Beyonce, follow Beyonce. This isn't just celebrity tea. This is a masterclass in divine alignment. Beyonce uses astrology. Beyonce times her drops with transits. Beyonce listens to spirit. Billionaires spend energy while y'all still wait on a sign from your crush. Wake the fuck up. Mark your calendars. July 29th, that's the screen. August 29th, the rebirth. Everything that comes after, legacy. This is Beyonce's magnum opus, a time capsule, a message for the next generation. She's not just making music for the charts. She's making art for the archives. And if you want to know how she does it, how she continues to do it, how she mastered energy, timing, astrology, spiritual warfare, and divine alignment to flip her entire reality, Beyonce studied the stars. She moved with transit. She broke karmic contracts, which is what I sit on this channel and yell to y'all every single day to do. Get on your shit before shit gets on you. That's how you advance in life. That's how you get to a level of Beyonce. That's how you get to the level of your blessings and your divine mission. You have to move with the energy of the earth and the transits and the divine. Beyonce, Jay-Z, Rihanna, the billionaires, they don't just study astrology. They weaponize it. They consult astrologers. They move with Venus transits. They align launches with new moons and solar returns. They know Mercury retrograde like the back of their hand. And they know it's not bad. It's strategic. So this isn't conspiracy. It's strategy. And you can do it too. Because Beyonce isn't untouchable. She's not untouchable. She's intentional. She's spiritual. And she's proof that when you move with alignment, you move with power. So that's where I come in. I do for myself what these billionaires hire teams to do. I read the stars. I align myself with the cosmos and I offer these same exact services to you. Because you don't need a record deal. You need a reading. You don't need a tour bus. You need a birth chart. You don't need a PR team. You need divine timing. I already told y'all. Act 3 was going to start up and some news about that was going to happen around Jay-Z's name being in the media. And look what happened. Nikki has been dragging him all month. The courts is on his neck for him to take the paternity test by a certain date. And what happened? All of a sudden, Act 3 suddenly got lost. But I told you this would happen 2 weeks ago. I told you. So book now. Join the spiritual rebellion. Get the blueprint, thealigningsouls.com. Because clarity is one click away. And remember, Sky, don't miss.